Happy Witchy Wednesdays, everyone. It's Majori here from the Punk Priestess, and we have a full moon today. This is going to be in Pisces. It's a lunar eclipse, and we're going to talk all about it. We're going to pull some tarot cards to begin with, and we have a lot to cover with the astrology and the Sabian symbols for the week. I have my coffee here. We're filming in the morning, so we got to have our pumpkin spice latte ready. And if you missed last Witchy Wednesdays, definitely go to last week's video and kind of catch yourself up with the eclipse and some of the astrology, because a lot of that is still like intertwined into this week. So yeah. And also as well, make sure you're following me on my Substack. I'm trying to grow that platform. I just started one a couple months ago, so it would be so awesome if you subscribe. You don't even have to pay, just even like free subscribers means so much. And if you want a reading with me, I'm definitely open this fall. So book a reading, and we're gonna pull some cards here. So I have my Oracle Tarot decks on my Substack. I list what the decks are. So make sure you're reading that, because I do give a little bit more detail there. So we're going to start out with the main energy as always, and let's just kind of see what comes up. This is a very interesting week with the astrology. As we talk about the Sabian symbols, you're going to see a lot of connections, and it's just really interesting how a Sabian symbol for Libra can connect with what's going on with Pisces and Virgo, and it's beautiful. It's just a beautiful cosmic relationship that the zodiac signs and the planets have together. And it's just really cool. It's really cool. And I don't know, I'm excited about this week's Witchy Wednesday wisdom. All right. So you know what? Tarot is not subtle. Tarot's like, you know what? I didn't come here to play. I came here to like be real, to be clear, to be correct. And this is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to be talking about Libra energy, because Libra season starts this week on the 22nd. So happy birthday to all my Libras. I'm a Libra rising, and I have my sun in the 7th house. So I have quite a bit of Libra energy in my chart. So I love my Libras. Most of my best friends are Libras. So yeah, happy Libra season. So we're starting out with the Justice card. And, this is traditionally the card for Libra in tarot. And then I'm pulling this Oracle card called Eternity. And with the Justice card, I really like the imagery that Way Home Tarot has for their cards. And we have like this black and white, we have this duality, the scales are reversed. And this is something we're going to talk about a little bit more with this Sabian symbol that's very powerful for the first degree of Libra. But when we're talking about relationships, we really want to make sure that we have the same agenda. We really want to make sure that they're reciprocal, that we feel like we're pouring into their cup, they're pouring into ours. And we want to make sure that the relationships that we put our heart and soul and energy into, they're for eternity. We are no longer trying to keep surface level relationships and connections in our life. It's just not worth it. And I feel with the Justice card reverse, and we're going to see like more with what comes up with the astrology, not only this week, but next week as well. As we get a little bit deeper into Libra season, we're going to keep seeing this theme come up. And, there's a lot of division. I'm not, going to talk too heavily of politics. There's a lot of division there. This can really be like the black and the white, good and evil, yin and yang. There's so much with this duality here, but I think a lot of it is just kind of having us question if these skills are in balance in our life. Like, do we feel balance? And also, do we feel, torn between the dark and the light? There's a huge, I guess politically in this country right now, it's election season, and there is this complete, obvious division of the light, which is, more the Harris campaign, and then the dark, which is Trump's campaign. And even the way that they're trying to promote like with their campaign and everything, you can see like there's this optimism. It's built on optimism and inspiration and faith, and just kind of like having a lot of belief in like a new future and how things can be better. That's like the Harris campaign. And then the Trump campaign is like built on a lot of fear and a lot of like disarray, and fear holds people's attention. But we're trying to move away from that vibration. I feel it's a very late stage capitalism, Pluto, Capricorn energy, whereas Pluto moving into the future of Aquarius is definitely a little bit more optimistic. Aquarius is the star card in tarot, and the star card is about faith, it's about hope, it's about promise, and it's about the future. So, even the like astrology is also like coinciding with the political events that are transpiring in this country. But I do feel like in our own personal lives, we really need to question the relationships that we have, the relationships that we are putting our time and energy towards, and if they're giving us anything, or if it's kind of time to let some relationships go. We want to make sure there's not an imbalance in our life. And if we're feeling like pulled, like we're putting like all of our emphasis, in one area and another area isn't getting that same attention, or, maybe we have people in our life that require extra time and energy that kind of take away from ourselves. We have to really reflect on that and see if that's healthy for us to continue living in that cycle, in that loop. So I'm just going to turn my little light. It's like really bright. So I think that's, a very heavy way to start. I think we have a lot of work to do this Libra season. I think we have a lot to, it's like a mirror. I think Libra is like a really good mirror. It's like really seeing ourselves kind of like a bird's eye view in our relationships, and, what we can do differently, what we can, do better, how we can shift and change. But also we don't want to lose ourselves in the process of that. I'm going to pull some other cards here. Great. I was going to say, did I forget my main tarot deck? It's right here. I'm going to pull a couple more cards, and then we'll get into some of the astrology. Even though we're already talking about astrology, the first card was just the Justice card. The first card was Libra. So, interesting. So I have here the Ace of Swords reversed, the 10 of Swords reversed, and then I have the 6 of Cups. And we're going to start with the 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups has been coming up quite a lot in my client readings. And I feel that there is this nostalgia. There's this way of preserving what once has been. It's like the sweetness of time. And it's a little bit of carefree timelessness as well. And it's kind of reminding us, it's like reminiscing of like where we have been, who we have evolved into. And the Sabian symbol for Libra at first degrees, it's like about metamorphosis, and we're going to get deeper into that. But I think it really does play into this 6 of Cups energy. And, we have this eclipse in Pisces. The last time we had a Pisces eclipse was in 2017. So, it's like 8 years ago. And it's kind of, thinking about like, 7, 8 years ago, it's kind of thinking about who we were in 2017. When I was like looking up all the dates for this reading, even now I'm like kind of blinking, like 2017. Like what was I doing in 2017? I know I was in New York working in fashion, but I'm just like trying to like reflect on that time. But it's kind of seeing how nostalgia from the past is like intertwining into our future. I guess I'll give a personal example in my life of a very 6 of Cups thing that happened within the last 24 hours. So yesterday, my boyfriend and I, we rented a U-Haul because I still had a couple things at my parents' place to like move into his house. And we've been living together for a year now, but there was a couple things I needed to bring. And then my mom gave me a desk from my great aunt, and who I never, I don't know if I remember meeting her in this life, or if I did, I was like very little, so I don't really remember. But she has a very beautiful, coveted desk. Like these desks run, very expensive if you were to find them at like an estate sale or something. So I've always wanted this desk, so I was really happy to get it. And, you know, it's like a little form of like nostalgia bringing and like giving it a new life. Eventually it's going to be like my main desk for my readings and everything. But it was just, you know, interesting, like bringing some of these things from my past that I actually forgot about. Some of them were like, I had a bunch of different binders like full of like artwork that I did. I went to fashion design school, so I had a lot of my own projects. And then I was in like a scrapbook era phase. I was a scrapbook girly back in the day. So I had like a bunch of scrapbooks and I haven't looked at them in years. And I was showing them to my boyfriend for the first time. So we were looking over them and it's just very nostalgic. And I was like, yeah, I used to be really into scrapbooking, or like even looking at older pictures of like family and like, you know, just how much time has gone by. And I found like pictures from like my 18th birthday and I'm like 32 now. So it's just like, it's a very interesting energy with the Six of Cups and like the nostalgia that comes in waves. It can come in waves like it did kind of inheriting my great aunt's, it's actually a great aunt's desk. And then it's like over 100 years old. And then also it's like my own personal history, sharing it with my partner and bringing it into the future and showing them a glimpse of like, you know, who I once was and also still am in some way. And I think, you know, too, and this is something, you know, we'll talk about the Sabian symbols. Not all the relationships that are with us in eternity are earthbound. Some of these relationships are spirit. And you know, those are relationships that we also have to be mindful if we want to cultivate and continue cultivating. And if it's worth, you know, cultivating for us. Not everyone has the best relationship with certain people who have passed on. And it might be best to not continue to have those relationships with them in the afterlife, you know. But I do feel like the Six of Cups is like really trying to keep the magic alive, not forgetting who we once were and who we came, you know, from, you know, with our ancestry, but it's like kind of giving a new life to some old stories. And I feel it's a very Piscean energy. And it's like creating from our past, remembering our past, and having our past live through us. And I feel it's interesting that the Six of Cups is stuck between these swords. And we have the Ten of Swords reversed and we have the Ace of Swords reversed. So we have the beginning of the suit and towards the end of the suit. And I think this is progress. I think that the Ten of Swords, I actually like to see this reversed. I feel like it could be a mental breakthrough. It can be a shift and no longer feeling hopeless, no longer feeling, you know, that all is lost. And, you know, there can be like despair with the Ten of Swords. And, you know, it's just like, we can get down when things don't go our way, or, you know, when things haven't panned out the way that we wanted them to be. And I think the Ten of Swords here with the reversal is just kind of saying like, don't get down on things that haven't happened in the past. Like the dreams that you have for yourself, they can still come true. And I think it's also making sure that you're around the right people who can further your dreams, further your visions, and support you on that journey. And those are the relationships you want to cultivate for eternity, are the ones that inspire you and, you know, keep you motivated, keep you uplifted. And, you know, the Ace of Swords with the reversal here, I think it's kind of time to get going on some new ideas and not be hesitant or feel like, oh, I have to wait for, you know, this time or this day. And, you know, sometimes in astrology, there's a lot of waiting around. It's like, oh, don't do this during Mercury retrograde, or, oh, you know, don't, you know, make this decision or have this surgery on a full moon because, you know, whatever. It's just kind of like, how much longer can we delay our progress? How much longer can we delay an idea that has been, you know, begging to grow? And I think a lot of this is reflecting on the past and like all the life that has been lived thus far, and making sure that we continue to create new visions and dreams for our future and don't have limitations from the past. You know, mental blocks hold us back. I think this Libra season, hopefully we can break through the veil. We can pierce through the veil. I think like there's a lot of opportunity here, and it's kind of like a cocoon, like we want to make sure ideas can merge into something, can become something beautiful. And the Six of Cups here is kind of giving us a little glimmer of possibility. Like, yes, this can happen. Yes, you can start again. Look at all the things that you've done. Look at all the creative pursuits that you were able to do in the time that you had then. Let's recapture some of those moments and bring them into the future. And maybe the creativity has changed, like, I guess for me, a lot of my creativity used to be very physical, and now it's very digital when it comes to art and creation and designing. And I do a lot of marketing, and and even like a lot of my creativity and time is spent writing, whereas it was, taking photography. And it's just, even thinking about the last time that Jupiter was in Gemini, like 2013, 14, it's just thinking about all of the times we were able to create something beautiful and, try different mediums and do different things. So, or 2012, 2013, my math might be off on that. But I do think this is an opportunity for us to take advantage of learning some new things, trying some new mediums, and let's have some new ideas emerge. And let's kind of see what new connections, new relationships form through some of these ideas. I'm gonna pull a couple more before we end here with some of the tarot oracle cards, and then we'll talk about the astrology. So, there's a lot of beautiful energy here. I'm just going to pull two more cards, and yeah, I'll share a few, all of them that come up. Guys, I'm curious. There's definitely some duality coming in with this that I find very interesting. Okay. So I had the Gemini card here, and Gemini's like, oh, wait, you're talking about me? Jupiter, Gemini, you're talking about me? And it's like, it's the two, it's two energies. So we have like, Libra, it takes two to form a relationship and a partnership. We have Gemini, the duality within ourselves and like collective. And then I'm also pulling here the Two of Cups. So, there's this theme of, there's this dual theme coming in. And, it's an opportunity for us to balance new things. And I think it's also like the yin and yang. I mean, I feel like, the aces, it's interesting, with the swords cards that it's black. And I think this is a really perfect example of the opaqueness of an idea. It's just like, it's just out there. It's just out there waiting to be formed, waiting to be crystallized into something. And until then, it's kind of bleak. It's just a floating thought. So I like the black background for these cards, and I think it really corresponds with this justice energy here. With the Two of Cups, it's a little sweetness. I think it is the beautiful relationships that we have here with the people in our life, and the ones that, there's definitely some type of soul connection here with the Two of Cups. It can be, traditionally like soulmate energy. It can, this doesn't have to mean like a romantic, energy, even though it can be, but it's also like just our friends, family, like the people that like our soul has chosen to be around. And, of course, we want this to be healthy, good relationships. Also with the Two of Cups, this is really connected to our own relationship with ourselves and how we're like fostering that harmony and peace within ourselves. I have the Temperance card here. So I think this is also like we have these two flowing water streams here, waterfalls, and then we also have this quarter moon going on. So we have some more duality coming in. And Temperance, it's a reminder of the spirit realm. There's a lot of love, support on the other side, initiating some movement forward, but it's also trying to walk that path within ourselves and trying to choose more expansion and more light. And, this imagery, it's very Aquarian here. It's a different, this is Mike Wilcox decks, but this is, very interesting how you would normally see this for an Aquarius type of energy, but this is for temperance. And, also we have like this kind of darkness, like this decay of the plant, and then we have the healthy plant here. And I think this is really good too, to kind of symbolize that duality, like life and death, and how we can't have one without the other. We have to pour within both, and we have to, we're existing among many different cycles in our life. We have cycles that we're in a season of rebirth, some cycles we're in a season of death. And I think the Temperance card is kind of telling us to make peace in a little bit of the duality of the light and the dark. And yes, we can, see that existing externally around us, and within our relationships, but also it's within ourselves. And this is the shadow. And I think we have to have expansion and believe in our ideas, and trust that if we have done it in the past before, we can do it again. And if our ancestors and loved ones on the other side have done it, we have the opportunity to do it here in this life as well. The last card I'm going to talk about, I pulled an oracle card. This is from the Color Vision Oracle by Moon Nectar Apothecary. This is one of my favorite decks. This is the brown card, and I actually haven't pulled this before, so I just want to like read a little bit and just kind of see what it's about, because this is a new one for me. So brown, just a little bit of some keynotes here. Rooted connections, rite of passage, greater meaning, earth rituals, ethics, cycles of time, going back to nature, connecting with ancestry, detoxing the body. So there is a lot of ancestral stuff coming on in this spread. And I think, that's something that is kind of Piscean, it's like the cycles of life. It's the last zodiac sign. We're ending of a cycle and we're beginning a new one. And, it's just kind of thinking, especially if like the desk that I obtained from one of my family members who has now passed on, I'm grateful that this material possession, has been able to test, the strength of time, but I also the passing of time, but also, it's a gift to like keep something like this alive, give it some new life. But it's just remembering some personal history and how it's able to still connect with me today. The ancestral energy through possession, the ancestral energy, just through energy, still living. And this is interesting because it's very yin and yang. There's a little bit of like breaking through trauma, which I think is definitely the Ten of Swords. And it's Saturn's the planet that rules this card. So a little bit more stepping out of technological confines, being present in the body and connecting your energy to earth, resting in the moment, neutralizing your thoughts, origin or starting points, returning to simplicity. Have you complicated your life is a question to ask when you pull this card. Are you prone to materialism to avoid facing your deep internal thoughts and feelings? I think that's a huge one that we're, trying to move past with Pluto in the last degree of Capricorn. It also represents indigenous practices and self-sustainment, modern versus tradition. So it's a beautiful card. This is really interesting. It's very earthbound, like the foundation of home is really important, but it's more so like home within the earth. So a part of the low vibration of this card is closed-mindedness, which I feel is definitely a Ten of Swords type of energy. But it's the reversal. So maybe we're now opening up our mind a little bit more. So, but yeah, I feel like, that definitely connects, for sure. Sorry, I'm yawning a little bit. Early in the morning here filming. But you know, I definitely think that this is a very beautiful message, and we're going to talk about the astrology of the week, and you know, let's kind of see how this corresponds to these cards. So I'm just going to pull a chart here. This is what I forgot to do last time, so apologies, but all the charts are on my Substack. So again, subscribe to my Substack if you want to see everything, all the pictures and stuff. But let me just share my screen here. Not sure if I'm going to have the right one, but oh, I did pull the right one. Okay, so I wanted just to pull for today here. So you know, we have our eclipse sorry, not in Libra, in Pisces. And this is for you know, universal time here. I'm using the Placidus system for the houses. But you know, we're going to be talking a lot about Pluto at 29 degrees Capricorn, because it is at the last degree here. I'm going to be talking about that. Here's our eclipse, our lunar eclipse in Pisces. And we also have our sun here, 25 degrees of Virgo. So we have this opposition going on with the sun and the moon here on the eclipse. You know, we have this conjunction still, and we talked about this you know, a week ago with the South Node and Lilith. They're kind of following each other around. Venus is moving, you know, full speed ahead. It used to be conjunct those two, but not anymore. We have our Jupiter in our Gemini, and then we have Mars in Cancer, and our Uranus here at 27 degrees and 8 minutes of Taurus. So we're going to be talking about some Uranus transits, and then we're going to be talking about some Neptune transits here, with Neptune, you know, close to the last degree of Pisces. So those are some of the things that are going on. And again, I'm going to include this chart on my Substack, so you have all of it. So I'm going to stop sharing that for a moment. All right, so just a little bit of what's going to be going on astrologically this week. So we have our full moon in Pisces, lunar eclipse, and I already talked about this eclipse in full in my last weekly wisdom medicine, witchy wisdom medicine. So definitely, you know, go there. You can listen to it. You can watch this YouTube video, or you can read about it on my Substack. So it's there. We'll still be referencing it, you know, as I talk about the astrology for the week. So also on the 18th, on the full moon in Pisces, we're also going to have Mercury conjuncting Saturn. So that's going to happen on the 19th through the 21st. We have Sun trining Uranus. And we're going to be talking about the Sabian symbols for that. From September 20th to the 21st, we have the Sun opposing Neptune. And then we're going to also have Mars squaring Lilith. So a little bit more of a minor thing going on. But, you know, it's just interesting, you know, some Cancer, Libra energy there. We will have from the 21st to the 22nd, we'll have the Sun trining Pluto. We're going to be talking about those Sabian symbols and how, like, all these Sabian symbols we're going to be talking about today, like, intertwine with each other. It's really cool how they connect like puzzle pieces. Also on September 21st, we're going to have Mercury squaring Jupiter. September 22nd to the 23rd is Venus squaring Pluto. Also on the 22nd, we're going to have Libra season starting. And then on September 24th, we have Mercury trining Uranus. And then on the 25th, we have Mercury trining Neptune. So that's what we're going to be, you know, talking about, like, more of my Substack. I'll pinpoint for some of those, but I want to focus on the Sabian symbols. We're going to start with the sun trining Uranus. And this is at, let's see here. Sorry, I wrote this on a couple of different pages. All right. So the sun trining Uranus, this is going to be from the 19th to the 21st, and it's going to be 26 degrees and 33 minutes of Virgo, and then 27 degrees and 2 minutes of Taurus. So we're going to talk about the Sabian symbol for 27 degrees Virgo, and we're going to just briefly talk about again the Sabian symbol for 28 degrees Taurus. I've been talking about the Sabian symbols for 28 degrees Taurus already, because this has been going on for the past couple weeks with the retrograde. So that is happening. I'm going to read from Dane Rudnar's Astrological Mandala. This is a book that has a 360 degrees of the Sabian symbols in it. So yeah, we're going to start here with 27 degrees Virgo. And this is a very more simple Sabian symbol to interpret. So I think this is an interesting one. And you're going to see how all this starts like connecting. So 27 degrees Virgo, a group of aristocratic ladies meet ceremonially at a court's function. The keynote, the ability to carry on a revered tradition in order to perpetuate cultural standards of excellence. And the keywords here are sacred ritual. And this is definitely about high society, its manners, it's preserving hierarchy, it's preserving history, it's preserving the feminine side of like aristocratic energy. And it's also you know, definitely like rituals from culture. I mean, this is, we can talk about court, we can talk about like royalty, and then we can also talk about like debutantes and you know, those more like, you know, traditions that were really big, you know, back in the day. You know, we still, they still have that going on in certain societies here in this, you know, the United States. But every now and then with the world transforming, there can be crisis. But honoring the procedures from the past hold value. And I feel like with the Sabian symbol, I think it's very perfect and very fitting for Virgo, but it's definitely, you know, wanting to like carry out rituals from high society, you know, traditions. Yes, it can be limiting because there is like racial divide, there is class divide when it comes to some of these rituals and it comes to some of these traditions, because you have to, you know, for example, with, you know, I guess we can talk about debutantes, there has to be like some type of, you know, it's more so like a higher class, you know, type of thing. And then, you know, we can talk about royalty and how you have to be born in certain royal families or be a part of certain royal circles to keep those traditions alive. And this is about, you know, protecting the status quo, but, you know, through that, you have to expose a little bit of rebelliousness from people. You have to like set an example for people so that they don't step out of line. And, you know, with the sun trining Uranus, this is actually like a positive aspect pattern, but it's a little lazy. Like we, you know, sometimes the trines, they just like a good time. There's not a lot of force and push. It's like something that's able to flow, but can it be able to change? Is it progressive? And, you know, I think Virgo, it is all about trying to, you know, have the right standards, perfectionism, manners, and it is very articulate as well as discriminatory. Like Virgo, it's all about discrimination, making sure that there is this, there's definitely this perception of, okay, you know, I have to make sure I'm doing this and not doing that. And, you know, I think with the Sabian symbol, this high society Sabian symbol, it is, you know, protecting the status quo in pursuit of excellence. And that's a very like Virgo attribute. And, you know, with the sun here, you know, this is for the Sabian symbol for the sun in Virgo, This is what we're focused on. We're focused on, our appearance. We're focused on, how what we're doing in society, and, how we're keeping certain traditions alive. And, some of the films that came in mind for me, was like The Virgin Suicides by Sofia Coppola. They have like a debutante party. You can kind of see that coming in. It was like in the 70s. Also too, like, Capote, there's this, it's on Hulu now, but there's this show that came out earlier this year about his swans. Truman Capote is a writer, and was a writer, and he wrote Breakfast at Tiffany's, and among like other books too. But his high society swans included like Jackie Onassis' sister, and there's so many different characters. I'm gonna link like some of these shows and movies so you can watch them. But they really all were about high society and like the debutantes and dressing right, and definitely trying to affiliate themselves with certain people. But then they were all about the scandal and how, what was it, like, decorum, it went against the decorum. And there's definitely, you can see that type of energy, and that was in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and like that kind of started fizzling out in the 80s and 90s. But I think that's an excellent show to kind of understand the Sabian symbol and just really understand Virgo energy. Also, of course, we have like more modern type of scenarios of like Succession, The Perfect Couple that recently just came out on Netflix. That's another one. And even too, like when I'm watching is like the Mormon Wives show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Oh my God, that's a mouthful. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu. That's a really great show right now that I'm watching. It's a little bit more like reality TV, but it also kind of shows like within the Mormon community how there is still this precedence of like, oh, you're going against your faith by drinking alcohol or doing this. And it's definitely, even though it's not so much in this debutante or like court, society type of realm, it's still existing, this like form of like carrying tradition and dignity and elegance. And it's like very female centric, and exposing the rebelliousness. And that's what one of the Mormon moms did by exposing kind of this like secret group of like soft swingers that they had in their society. And yeah, it's just really making sure that we're reflecting on what we want to pass on to the next generation. I do think there's a lot of ancestral energy with the cards that I pulled, and it's reflecting on what we want to pass and what we want to preserve. And think times are going to change, but if we have lasting values and traditions, hopefully those can last the test of time. I mean, not all of them we want to last the test of time. That's the thing, we have to have discernment in that. But there is some that maybe we do want to preserve, or it's maybe it might be just certain societies are about preserving certain things, different societies, different cultures. Yeah, and like this Sabian symbol, it's perfect for Virgo too. And it kind of reminds me of like one of my Virgo friends a couple years ago. She like was just kind of, we were talking about, I don't know, productivity or things like that, and she said that she had this revelation of what if she woke up and was the best version of herself? Like, what would that look like? How would that change her day? What would she do differently? And that really stuck with me, because I'm like, that is such a Virgo thought, like as an Aries here. I'm like, what is that? A little bit more like living life in the moment. But there's the form of discipline, there's the form of consciousness of like, what if I decided to, carry out the best version of myself? What would that look like? And how can I, have that become like some type of consistent regimen? And, I think it's a very Virgo way of thought. And she started doing like the small little things that she felt would make herself the best version of her. And yeah, it made her more happy. It made her more successful. It made her more, I guess, like enthusiastic about her time here. And I think that is definitely something, with the traditions within ourselves, within our own life, and how we're able to maintain them. So yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of links for some of these movies and shows for you to check out. They're all great. And with the trine here, this is going to be for like Taurus at 28 degrees. So I've read this before. So I'm not going to go too in depth here. But Taurus at 28 degrees is a woman past her change of life experiences new love. So, this is all about new beginnings and the possibility of having some new experiences that can make you really happy. And I do think, the new generations are carrying out new ways of remembering, reflecting the past. I mean, like the thrifting vintage antique market is huge. It's like giving past possessions a new life, a new story, intertwining them with like more modern decor. It's taking a lot of inspiration from nostalgia here with our Six of Cups and giving it like a fresh take and finding peace within that, finding creativity. But yeah, it's just kind of like things that we thought, were stuck in the past, a change of life experiences a new love. Like there's a new love. Even, my great grandmother's desk. It's a product of the past, but it's experiencing a new love now in my home, and I'm going to be using it for tarot readings. I'm not sure what she used it for, but we did find some, as we were cleaning it out, we found some receipts of like clothing that she bought, 40 years ago. So it was like really cheap. It was like $2 for stuff. It was crazy. But yeah, it's just kind of like the feminine polarity, here of like, the cycle, the stages and the cycles of like life. And, I think it's like we're kind of like in this new cycle, and I think it's good. I think with this trine here, we're not necessarily really doing anything radical. We're more of like preserving and conserving, but then also using it as like a form of inspiration. The past, like it can be physical items, and it's also elements of ourself that we want to preserve, and it's even just thinking, okay, like, let's say we have family traditions, like, or we have like that we want to preserve, or there's like recipes, that's a sense of this Virgo at 28, 27 degrees. It's like ritualized mundane life, for the pursuit of excellence. And then, new generations creating like their own, status quo, creating something new from the past. And, it's in another way too, it's, like new money, or it's just like things that aren't as valued as much, and then it turns and it shifts into something else. So the value of things change, and then, sometimes the value of things get remembered and get reunited. So that's, kind of the energy of the start of this week. And like, we'll kind of see more of like this eclipse and like what it brings in. We're going to talk about some more Sabian symbols here, and you're going to see how they start connecting. So I want to talk about Sun trining Pluto. So, this is going to be on the 21st to the 22nd. And we're going to now talk about Virgo at 29 degrees. So moving up a little bit of degrees here. We're in the last, like we're phasing out in the last couple of days of Virgo. So the degrees are 28 degrees and 30 minutes of Virgo, trining 29 degrees and 44 minutes of Capricorn. That's where Pluto is at. So we're going to be reading the Sabian symbol for 29 degrees Virgo. Oops. See here. I think I lost my spot. Okay, so the Sabian symbol is a seeker after occult knowledge, as reading an ancient scroll which illumines his mind. After a crisis, one should seek to regain the renewed consciousness with the revelation of the truth of man. So this is about root knowledge. And after each revolutionary crisis, this pattern and this power, it can be contacted, always the same, yet at each new cycle, perceivable in a different light. So the Sabian symbol, it's really interesting. So it is about ancient knowledge as a foundation for change. And we need to pay attention to the hidden secrets as we create new realities following radical change. So this is about making sure that whatever that we uncover, we sit with it, like we reflect on it within ourselves, and we have a deeper understanding of some of these worldly revelations before we bring them out into the public, before we bring them out into the consciousness of other people, because some people might not be ready for certain things. And, you know, I guess an example of like some occult knowledge is tarot. You know, I was reading tarot way before like the witch wave of 2020. And now it's like pretty much more normalized. And you know, I don't want to say, I mean, maybe it is a mainstream society. It took a while for tarot to become more adaptable and accessible like it is today. And even, you know, I guess you can just think about even less than 10 years ago, you know, going into a store and not being able to find a lot of tarot decks. And now, like, you can go to your local Walmart and find a bunch of tarot decks. It's like become so normalized, but we need to pay attention to the secret knowledge that comes you know, to us, that we find ourselves. We have to find the secret knowledge. This is, you know, and then we have to like absorb it. We have to have our own relationship with it. And I think this is, you know, something when it comes to you know, Virgo energy, it's really not wanting to be a fool. It's not wanting, and that's like this duality with like Virgo and Charlotte and Pisces, is making sure that, you know, we're not getting tricked and bamboozled by charlatans, but us ourselves are not a charlatan to other people. But you know, I think this is like a lot of hidden knowledge being brought to light, and we'll kind of see what happens in the next couple of days. We'll see what this eclipse brings, you know, to us. I mean, even reflecting on the last time we had an eclipse in Pisces, which was 2017, how much knowledge has been revealed to us thus far. And this isn't just, you know, it doesn't have to be just occult knowledge. It's just like, you know, knowledge in general that is changing the collective. I mean, you know, for one thing, we can talk about, you know, how P. Diddy got arrested yesterday. And all the knowledge that has come out from him that was hidden, and, you know, things that get revealed in society that were once, you know, secrets, a lot of secrets being revealed, you know, and just like so many different things. And it's because we have, you know, more of access to media, social media, and more information is available to us at our fingertips. And this kind of allows us to, you know, spread more information and news more quickly to other people so that we can be informed, and then we can be open. Another like reflection of the Sabian symbol is how more conservative, you know, parts of this world, of this, you know, country, they refuse to surrender their wisdom and their knowledge. Because like we don't like, and we can talk about, you know, the government, you know, just giving us the information that UFOs are real. I mean, we've known it, but it wasn't confirmed because not so much information can be revealed at once to the general public, because then it could, you know, be a crisis. It can, people might not be, you know, able to handle it. So, you know, it's little by little, you can, I guess, you know, society, the government, whoever controls a lot of this information, this like top secret information, you know, in spouts, gives society certain information, or if it's exposed, you know, through certain like whistleblowers. But it's just, you know, we don't want, sometimes we got to keep, you know, ourselves ignorant or other people ignorant so that we can, you know, function in life and society. We can be productive and we aren't in chaos or aren't in fear. So, you know, sometimes like what we don't know won't hurt us. And I think this is the Sabian symbol of just being very, again, that discipline, that the discipline and that discrimination of Virgo, of just knowing what to feed into and what not to feed into. But to free ourselves from ignorance is to use our imagination, is to learn, and is to have like more persistence. Like we have to have like a persistence of our imagination and our creativity in order to, see new results, to see change, and to open ourselves up to new possibilities and uncover things. And I think that's a very Pluto Capricorn energy, is like the persistence of, let's say, different social media conspiracy accounts, the persistence of, people questioning certain UFO phenomenons that are unexplained. These things lead to eventually new answers, new results being uncovered, and then they're eventually shared with the collective. It can take some time. I think the process has been a little bit more sped up because of technology, but eventually, more and more the answers will get revealed to us in time. But there's a certain sense of consistency behind our imagination to bring things to light. So yeah, I'm just reading a little bit more of what I wrote. And when we're taking a little bit more of like an occult context, like we all have the ability to expand our own consciousness. We all have the ability to open ourselves up. We can all have the ability, let's say, to learn astrology. We just have to get some books. We just, maybe listen to some podcast, maybe get a reading from an astrologer. We all have the ability, and we all have tools, if we can find them, to expand and open ourselves up. But again, we have to do the research. We got to do the work to understand these tools, to work with these tools, and to form a relationship and a connection with these occult tools. And that's like Virgo, the Virgo persistence, the Virgo diligence, and the cultivation of Virgo. And it's, making sure that we have a good understanding of it ourselves before we bring it to the public. Going to read just a little bit of the Sabian symbol for Capricorn at 30 degrees. And again, I've talked about this the past couple weeks. So just go to my previous Witchy Wednesdays, and like on my Substack, I talk about this quite a bit. But this is what the sun in Virgo is trining, which is Capricorn at 30 degrees. And this is a secret meeting of men responsible for executive decisions in world affairs. The power to assume responsibility for crucial choices arrived at after mature discussions with those who share this power. So executive power. And, this is, again, there's conversations, there's people that are working on things that we are not privy to. Like we will not know until the news information comes out. Like, for example, like I was reading the Sabian symbol months before, Joe Biden stepped down from, trying to have another presidency, and Kamala is taking over now. And I knew this was going to happen months ago because of the Sabian symbol. So there's more conversation. There's more things that are going to come to light, and we'll see it in the next eclipse season that happens. So we have an eclipse in October 2nd. It's going to be in Libra. And then our next eclipses won't be until March. So let's kind of see what happens. March 14th is when we have our total full moon in Virgo. So let's kind of see, what is going on and happening now. What is going to take place once we have our full moon in Virgo on March 14th. So a lot of these conversations, let's kind of see what the eclipse in Pisces brings out, this week. I think there's going to be some more news and more information coming out about, I don't know what it's going to be, honestly. It's Pisces, it can be anything. But there's some stuff, I think with the Sabian symbol, 30 degrees Capricorn, there's a lot of discussions, there's a lot of people. I mean, hopefully it can be a ceasefire, but I do think that there's a lot of things that we're not privy to right now. But we got to do our own research. We got to do our own, investigation and learning things, and, pull your tarot cards, understand, the more occult, esoteric sides of life, because that's going to give you more contentment. And maybe that's, the Ace of Swords reversed in this reading, is kind of talking about how there's so much knowledge, there's so many new ideas that haven't even like sparked our consciousness yet. And we have to try to bring them out of the dark and into the light. So I think that's interesting there. So we're going to talk about some more Sabian symbols. And I want to talk about Venus squaring Pluto. So this is at 28 degrees and 38 minutes of Libra. And then it's still going to be at 29 degrees and 44 minutes of Capricorn. So this is going to be from September 22nd to 23rd. And then we're going to end with talking about the first degree for Libra. So Libra, so Venus is going to be at 29 degrees Libra for the Sabian symbol. So we're going to read that. So we're reading like towards the end of Libra season, then we're going to go and talk about the first degree of Libra. So we're kind of like going back and forward. So the Sabian symbol for 29 degrees Libra, which is where our Venus is at on this day, is mankind's vast and enduring effort to reach for knowledge transferable from generation to generation. The keynote: a sense of participation in and commitment to social processes which seek to bring to all men truth in a greater life. And a little bit about the Sabian symbol. The keywords is conscious participation. And it's a deep feeling of the value of community that eventually destroys the roots of loneliness. And I think that this is definitely talking about this Justice card here, needing connection, needing relationships. We have our Two of Cups in this spread as well. And then we have our Temperance card and we have our Gemini. So it is very much community. It's very much collective. It's social. And a little bit more about the Sabian symbol and this transit. This is humanity's evolution of wisdom. We take from our ancestors and we pass on to our descendants, and we keep this flowing and flowering of knowledge. And that's what, we're talking about. This is so much ancestral energy coming in. This is connecting back to the Sabian symbol of Virgo at 27 degrees. It's, the information from high society, from different cultures, and this need for respecting tradition and hierarchy in these traditional worlds. We're seeing that Sabian symbol play out here, and this is through like wisdom, and this is also Virgo at 29 degrees. This is occult ancient knowledge and wisdom. So, you can kind of see this pattern of like information, knowledge, wisdom, duties, task, rituals, traditions, from the past being brought into the future, flowing and flowering. It's like from the past being brought into the future and then kind of taking on a new form and, keeping us going collectively. And, we are part of something greater than ourselves, and finding the patterns that connect our various aspects of life, finding the patterns that connect the past to the future to the past. And it's just like this very beautiful thread that like intertwines back and forth. It's like that infinity symbol, the figure 8. That is what these Sabian symbols are trying to reflect on. I'm going to try to make the symbol here. It's like that back and forth, and it's harmonious. And we gain knowledge by bridging the gap between the known and the unknown. And that is why we need to spend time trying to bring about occult secret knowledge. We have to make sure that we're investigating. We have to make sure we're using our imagination, and we're trying to continue to seek higher wisdom so that we can bring that into our future and give ourselves, more awareness and more consciousness. Yeah, and it's like we're seeking a bridge. We're seeking a bridge here. but also too, like, we're gonna see what this bridge is. I mean, there's many bridges that we can see, that have been, formed, but there's still so many conversations that are happening, with high society people, I guess you could say, or politicians, or, people, it doesn't even have to be in a political system. It's like, maybe these are conversations between musicians and their like record company and their production, creating a new album. There's so many different things that are going on, and different rooms and different conversations and different meetings that are trying to bridge, gaps. And this can be positive. This can also be negative. I mean, for example, the 2025 project, that's a negative thing. We do not want get bridged. We do not want those ideas bridged. But let's just kind of wait and see. I feel like we probably won't know what a lot of this is going to be until, a couple, months have passed on. And let's see what gets revealed to us with the next eclipse in Libra, which is going to be on October 2nd. We'll kind of see what more information comes to light. But I think this is definitely it's wisdom from our ancestors. It's humanity's evolution, and it's based off of traditions. It's based off of secret knowledge being brought into the public. And there's still so much more unknown things that are going to come to light and surface. And I think it's us continuing to seek knowledge, to continue to grow, to continue to read, continue to better ourselves, and making sure that we're aware of that relationship for eternity, that things don't just evaporate. Energy doesn't evaporate, it circulates, it's still here, and manifest in new ways. And I think when it comes to, this is, a relationship of the past. Isn't that maybe this isn't so much a read on relationships in the present or physical, entities. It's more so ourself, how we're shifting and transforming and metamorphosizing. And then it's how our ancestors and family and loved ones on the other side continue to live within us and around us. I'm going to read the Sabian symbol here for Libra. And this is where we're going to end. So, it's very deep. It's very, very deep. So, with the Sabian symbols, there's different like themes and there's different acts. With Libra, this starts the process of collectivization, and then it's group integration, transfiguration. The Sabian symbol for Libra at 1 degrees is a collection of perfect specimens of many biological forms. A butterfly displays the beauty of its wings, its body impaled by a fine dart. The keynote, the immortal archetype reality that a perfect and dedicated life reveals. And it's a very, I'm not going to read. It's like, you can see here the Sabian symbol. It goes like all on one page here, and it's on another page, like half here. So it's a lot. So I definitely suggest that you purchase this book. Actually, I'll give you a link where you can download it for free too. It's a little tedious to read. That's why I like having a book. So I did download it on my iPad, and it was kind of a lot. So I do feel it's easier just to read in a book, but pretty much what this is talking about is, and this is, I think, the perfect example of this like light and this dark, this duality. Libra is the 7th house, and this is when we change, seasons. We're going to have the fall equinox start on Libra, the day of Libra, but also this is when we go from the 1st house to the 6th house, which is all about cultivating ourselves and our own like ideals and visions. And then we go into the more collective, personal, relational houses, which is houses 7, which is Libra, to Pisces, which is 12. So this is a shift. And I think this is perfect imagery for the Justice card. We're going from houses 1 through 6, more about the self, more about the light. And this is, how we have more like light in our day. And then we're moving to the fall where we're going to lose light. We're going to have a little bit more darkness, and we're not going to be able to focus so much on ourselves. We're focusing on the other relationships and people around us. And And I'm just going to read a little bit here. In the yearly cycle, we have reached the fall equinox, the symbolic time of bringing in the harvest and preparation for winter. It is the time to seed, just as the spring equinox is concerted to the germ, the new rise of life, which is forms a growth of individual organisms. And at this autumn point, the drive towards individualization and self-assertion has lost much of its momentum. While a new trend is successfully and dynamically challenging toward the formation of collectiveness of individuals. So what this is saying is like kind of what I just, talked about. Like we're going from the individual, we're going from like self-asserting our own ideals, which is very much what houses from Aries to Virgo do. It's all about cultivating ourselves and putting all this energy and emphasis in ourselves. That's what the bottom houses are in the bottom hemisphere. And then the top hemisphere of the wheel, of the birth wheel, is all about society and the collective and ourselves in society. And if you've ever seen taxidermy insects or like butterflies in this point, like this is kind of like where the dart is coming in. You can see sometimes, or if you go to like different I guess like oddity shops, they'll have like butterfly specimens that have darts through them. And this is kind of what it's saying, like the dart can hardly be said to have made the butterfly perfect, but it keeps it perfect by killing the living organism. So the dart is all about like preserving that perfectionism. And what's all about perfectionism? Virgo. What's all about beauty? Libra. And it's preserving that beauty. And this could definitely be, physical, like we want to, preserve physical beauty. And that's a very Libra thing. Like there's like these different, and I'll show a picture of this, how there's like all the Libra female celebrities kind of all look the same. Like they have blonde hair and they all kind of get the same work done. And it's like this very, I guess cookie cutter commercial way of like looking at beauty. And it's a very interesting thing. Like I think Gwen Stefani, yeah, she's part of it. But that's kind of like, I feel a good example of like the dart and the butterfly is like preserving that perfectionism that we obtained in Virgo season of trying to be the best version of ourselves. And then now, and like, we didn't just do this in Virgo season. It took us 6 zodiac signs. It took us from Aries to Virgo to have this form of perfectionism to create who we are. And then now we're able to meet ourselves in society with other people and see how that perfectionism, that self-actualization has, been able to either benefit us or it's maybe causing us adrift, and it's some polarity within relationships collectively. So I think this is interesting here, with this Libra energy. And it's also, there's a little bit of a religious component with this, and this is more in the Sabian symbol. If you get the book, you can read about it, but it's like this Christ ideal of wanting to be the perfect example of Christ. And this goes back to the traditions, the values of Virgo at 27 degrees of high society. It's a very proper, prim, it's even very Christ-like behavior within like the church of what you should and should not do. And the Christ ideal, it's definitely very Virgo. Virgo is like that, virgin religious type of energy too. So and we're the imperfect example of this ideal, and we're trying to work on that ideal. That's why we're putting a dart through the perfectionism that we've been able to obtain, so that we can preserve it. And yeah, spring is the light, supports our individual self-expression. The dark is group consciousness and the collective, and it's fall. And it's thinking about a butterfly transformation and how it's learning to fly. It learns to fly, and then eventually, it dies. It's like life, death, and rebirth, that transformation coming in. And that's a beauty as well. It's that, you know, beauty fades, and like we can try to preserve it. We can try to put a dart in it with plastic surgery, and Botox and filler, but you know, it's more so about cultivating what's inside of us. That's why it's so important to, you know, have a very real perspective of ourselves from houses 1 to 6, so that we know who we are, so that when we, you know, meet society from houses 7 to 12, we don't lose ourselves, even though sometimes we can. But then we have to go back to focusing on creating and cultivating a stronger sense of self. So, yeah. And, you know, eventually, you know, with the dart analogy, we are doomed to die. We are eventually all going to die. And, you know, there are some things that will remain past us. You know, for example, my great aunt's beautiful desk, you know, has been able to survive her physical form. And it's getting a new life. And putting a dart in a butterfly, you know, you can look, I'm looking right now, I have a monarch butterfly in a little frame. And yeah, it's just like, you know, internal beauty will remain, and external beauty will fade unless you capture it. And yeah, but the butterfly died, you know, before it was put into the frame. And that's just the yin and yang. That's the duality between Aries and, you know, Libra. That's, you know, every sign like feeds in and out of each other. But I think that's, you know, a beautiful way to enter this week, to connect these cards here. You know, even this brown, you know, card coming back to nature here, you know, getting grounded and like not focusing on the material and the superficial, and focusing on the soul, focusing on, you know, what we're brought here to do in this life, and, you know, obtaining new knowledge. In this Gemini, you know, back to school energy, Jupiter and Gemini, we're expanding our knowledge in new ways. And, you know, social media technology is helping us in those pursuits. But the brown card is making sure that we don't rely solely on technology, that we like have some good boundaries of that. And, you know, the Ace of Swords is a lot of new information coming to light, but we have to dig for it. We have to bring it to the surface. The Six of Cups is nostalgia, and with Temperance, it's ancestral energy. And then, you know, Libra energy. It's, you know, trying to capture beauty for eternity. And we can remember this through something physical by putting a dart in it and saving it for later, you know, preserving the beauty. And then it's also with the traditions and values that we're able to continuously bring into our life and able to preserve as well. And the knowledge that we're able to preserve, and just knowing there's a lot of new things that are going to come to light that maybe that we've hinted on or we knew, but we haven't had like the actual credible fact to. You know, maybe some of these conspiracy theories, maybe there's some truth to them. I don't know. I mean, for UFOs, we've gotten that acknowledgement, at least from the government, but there's a lot of things that are, you know, talked about and in works behind the scenes that we're not privy to. And it's actually for our own protection. We can't know everything, or then society will collapse. We need to have a form of disillusionment so we can continue to move forward and be productive, and, you know, focusing on preserving some of the things from the past. So that is the Sabian symbols. That is the astrology of the week. And this is, you know, at the start of Libra season, the end of Virgo season, and the eclipse in Pisces. So thank you for taking, you know, time out of your day to listen or watch and also read about my Witchy Wednesdays. I hope this, you know, inspires you. And yeah, thank you so much. And if you want a personal reading with me, make sure that you come to my website and book one with me. And also don't forget to subscribe to my Substack. Also too, sorry, I know I've been, you know, rambling. I just wanted to show one more chart here. Let's see if I can pull up the right one. So, oops, that's not the right one, actually. Yeah, here's the 22nd here. Here we go. So yeah, it's interesting how from I'm looking at the times here. So this is from 6 a.m., and this is like 12:44, p.m. This is like how much, it's shifted and changed. But yeah, I think too, with all of our like Libra energy, we're slowly and surely, we're getting a lot of that duality with like the Aries, the Chiron, the North Node, and then the Libra South Node, and we have Lilith there. So our first and seventh house, we have some of that, yin and yang duality. And then we have here our Neptune, 28 degrees of Pisces. And, we have it opposing here our sun. Our sun in Virgo here in our 12th house. So, there's some oppositions going on there, but this is like right when we like shift signs, we shift gears. And then here we go, a couple hours later, 6 hours later, and then we have our sun in Libra at 0 degrees. So, shifting, things are moving fast. And then, we have our energy here with Saturn and with Neptune, in our Pisces energy. So yeah, I mean, with that square here too, we have that 29 degrees, Capricorn, Pluto energy, this Libra trying to give some new life. So yeah, those are the charts. Those will also be included on my Substack. So I wanted to just, give those to you before I leave. Because I'm like, there's so many moving parts. I'm like, I remember to show this, talk about that. So, but thank you so much. And happy full moon lunar eclipse, happy Libra season, happy fall equinox, and all the things. Thank you for subscribing and supporting, and I will see you next week.